And welcome back aboard Blurred Force One with your boy Mo and your girl Polly. And this is the Supercast. The Supercast where we talk about all things superhero in our pop culture media, and that's movies, TV shows, video games, comic books. We talk about the news, do some speculation, all that good nerdy stuff. And before we get into the podcast today, you know what to do. Get down there and hit like on this video. We're nearing the end, or I think we're midpoint of February. So Black History Month is in full swing. Sure is a good thing that nothing terrible and racist has happened to just happen to coincide with Black History Month. What could I be referring to? I don't know. But we're going to keep it moving anyway, because Black History Month, this is time for us to celebrate Black people in comics, in the pages of comics and superhero, and on the screens of superhero movies and TV shows, but also to celebrate the creators too. So that's a good time. Before we do all that, we got to say what's up to our resident Reed Richards truther, comic aficionado, and all around cool blurred. And that, of course, is our good friend Polly. Polly, how's it going today?
It's going great. I mean, when you said like something racist happened, nothing. You said nothing, but I immediately thought like, which one is it this time? Because it's every day it's something new, and it's something even more racist than the day before. I'm not even surprised anymore. When am I ever? I've been good. I've been doing a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, not a lot of geek-related stuff. I've been setting this up. That's pretty good. I didn't get to read a lot of comics, but I did watch a very important movie, I did it yesterday. That was also cool. Been watching some Olympics, because me, I'm a very, very big fan of sports.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I am not a fan of sports.
Also you love the snow and all the winter stuff, and go Serbia.
I do enjoy, we get kind of like a month of snow here, and I do enjoy that, but at some point it just gets tiresome, and I'm like, that's enough, it's time for spring now. And this year was been perfect in this regard. We had the really great snow a week or two, and then now it's already warm. It's nice.
Yeah, warmer.
So, yeah, that's what I've been up to. I didn't do any nerding on the budget. I pretty much I barely had any time to leave my home, because we had a lot of home improvements and repairs and stuff like that. As you can see, it's not all done yet. It's in progress, but it's a lot of fun.
I saw your posts about it, and I was like, is middle of winter? Is that the time to be changing windows out? Okay,
it's
guess.
Not middle of winter here, and yes, it is the time. It is exactly the time.
Okay, well, you know what? I'll take your word for it. And here in Florida, we were making all a big deal out of 20 degree, which what is it? I guess it's below zero for you. It'd be like, I don't know, a few degrees below zero. For us, 20 degrees, and I mentioned how my plants got messed up, but we're hot again. I'm not kidding. I went outside and had short sleeves on, and no jacket, no need for a jacket. It's going to be pretty damn warm for February. So thanks a lot. Climate change, you're doing wonders for how I predict what to wear and how to deal with my garden. I'm with you. I didn't really do a whole lot of nerdy stuff this week. I did watch the Super Bowl halftime show, because I was not going to actually watch the game. Who watches football? I did watch the halftime show, though.
Nobody watches American.
I know. Nobody, only 130
Everybody watches normal football.
I think Bad Bunny did the halftime show. I think it was a record number of people watching the show, 130 million. 34 million, actually, if I'm not mistaken. It beat Kendrick Lamar, and I will allow this. Even though I really like Kendrick Lamar, I will allow it, because Bad Bunny did his thing. I had a good time with it. Did not understand pretty much anything that was said, and that's okay. That is okay. I got eyes. I can see things. It takes very little for me to look at something and understand what they're doing. It was very cool. I think
interrupt you for a moment. I mean, you didn't understand, and I do know that like for many people it's just fine, but like, how do you live in America and not learn Spanish? It's not that hard a language.
It's not about whether or not it's hard, it's whether or not you need to. That's the thing. Do you need to
No,
know
I
it?
always liked it. I learned enough to
Yeah.
like get by in Spain.
Yeah, that's the thing is do I if I live like if there are parts of the United States where if you live there and you don't know Spanish, it's detrimental. There are not many. Where I live, it's absolutely unnecessary to know anything except English. There are parts of Texas and California and Arizona and then in South Florida. Knowing Spanish is a great thing to have going on in your life. So that and oddly enough, I'm glad did you say that. I actually, independent of the Bad Bunny thing, I'm actually sort of learning Spanish right now because I have coworkers who mostly just speak Spanish, and they're very nice ladies, and they like talking to me, and they like that I'm interested in learning to speak better. So they're
That's
walking me
what
through it.
everybody should be doing.
Yeah,
I mean, next halftime show, all America should be speaking Spanish.
it would be
That's
nice,
what
but you know why?
I mean, some people would not
I
learn,
mean,
but they don't know English either.
I mean, you know why they won't be doing it.
Because they can't read.
It's a whole lot of there's a lot of racist stuff around the Bad Bunny thing. Honestly, I think besides it just being a cultural celebration, a lot of really fun, cool stuff. I think it kind of shines a spotlight on the fact that like there's so many people in the world that do really cool things and have a really cool culture, and they're so vibrant and interesting, and it is in stark contrast to what I call the null culture, which is the monoculture that is being white in America. And how fucking dull is it in comparison? Like the only time there's any like cool stuff that comes into it is because some ethnic group, you know, gets a little popular, and there's a watered down version of it that makes its way into homogenized American culture. I mean, honestly, I'd be kind of jealous and mad too if somebody else like Bad Bunny went up there and had all this cool shit going on, and I didn't understand and I couldn't participate. Like if that's just a sad thing. Like I get it, but also it's fucking stupid. But yeah, I get
It's
it.
not like they weren't invited to participate. They could participate. They just chose not to and were mad about it.
They denigrate the culture, even though I think somebody posted something funny and they were like, "Y'all gonna sit here and drink Coronas, eat chips and salsa and guacamole and nachos, and talk about how dare they have this Spanish on the Super Bowl?" And I'm like, that's because cognitive dissonance is a real thing on the right wing.
Oh yeah.
They've been told.
At least they had their own thing. They
Yeah.
had their own little event, gathering of sorts.
It was
like, I saw some clips from that. It was
trash.
Bizarre.
Trash.
Trash is, trash used to be something useful. This did not.
I'm just saying, if Kid Rock is your headliner, you are in the worst fucking timeline. If that's your savior. But I mean,
what about that guy who wanted to kiss a fish or something like that? I don't know.
I didn't watch any of it. Just trash. Like nobody wants to watch that.
I saw some
garbage.
clips and it was terrible.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that. And also, apparently, they filmed it 2 weeks ago over the course of two 12-hour days, and only had 180 people in the crowd, and used camera tricks to make it look like a big crowd. It's a psyop, and it's a fucking stupid one. Because literally no one believed that little anti halftime show was anything except propaganda bullshit, and nobody wanted to watch it. They said they got 5 million people. I bet half of them were bots, and the other half may as well be bots because they just do whatever the fuck Trump tells them to do. It's just fucking sad. What a waste! A waste of time.
2.5 million morons. I don't know. It's a lot. But then you know what? You know exactly what they were doing on the day of the Super Bowl. They were sitting, watching, like hate watching, and looking for ways to get upset. Kind of like increasing the viewership of the very thing they were complaining about. So that's stupid.
Exactly.
And like I I don't know what to say. I mean, at least if you're trying to be like to do super villain shit, at least be smart about it.
No,
don't just do stupid shit. It's stupid.
They don't. That's the thing is they don't. Our supervillains don't have to be smart. They just because they're the people that support them aren't. So it's not very hard. And it's same reason that the grifters in the nerd space get off. They make plenty of money because the people that they're appealing to are not fucking smart. They're actually just small-minded and easily led. It's very simple. Point them in the right direction and tell them they don't like white people, and that's the end. There's no more thought. There's just reaction. It's just like throwing chum into the water. All the little sharks are gonna come and bite away at it and go into a frenzy, but it's no fucking thought at all. Anyway, that's not what I meant to talk about. I like the halftime show. I love the breakdowns. Good time. Also, I saw a movie that came out years ago, almost, I think 8 years ago, called, or almost 9 years ago at this point, called Wonder. Never seen it before. My daughter wanted to watch it. Wonderful movie. Wonderful. Yeah, I know. But it's about a kid, Jacob Tremblay plays a little kid who's got physical deformities like his face because of a genetic condition that required him to have a lot of surgeries. He's been homeschooled. He's starting middle school for the first time, and what it's like for him to be different and have people kind of like shrink away, shy away, bully him, etc. And also about his older sister who, she's kind of, been the second child, so to speak, even though she's older, because of him and how important it is, to put a lot of attention on him and what she's going through. Julia Roberts, Owen Wilson are in it as the parents. It's a great movie. You ever have a movie and you're like, I don't know if I want to care for this, and then it turns out to be wonderful. I every time that happens to me. I had
the opposite experience.
Well, I like for me to be like, this is whatever. I'm not really into it, and then it turns out to be a wonderful movie. I love that feeling so much. It was great. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix, called Wonder. It's a worthwhile. I think it's like about a little less than 2 hours. I think it's a good watch. That's pretty much it. Even though I will say, guess what? We got some nerding on a budget. I didn't think this was going to happen because I ordered.
You just before we started recording, did you just run out and buy something? Just
no, you would. I could have.
That sounds like something you would do.
I could have, but because there's a thrift shop and it's down the street from here. But no. So what happened was yesterday I caught a really good price on a action figure on Amazon. There was a coupon and made it cheap enough for me to like, okay, I'll buy this. I figured it was coming on Friday, but for whatever reason came to me immediately. Like I opened the door this morning and the box was just sitting there. It was amazing. Usually Amazon's terrible about delivering it like late in the day. So what did I get? I might even, let me see if I can open this. I got, and this isn't even a character I care about. It was just cheap. Like this was, I want to say it was $10 after tax, like $10.70, something like that. Marvel's Egghead, which is, I don't know this character. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know this character at all. But it was cheap. I couldn't. You ever have something you're like, I can't say no to this. This is too. I'll be mad at myself if I don't.
Everything behind me is exactly that's how I got it.
Like if I don't get it, I'll feel stupid because it was a good deal. So
no, because I want it.
So
that's my excuse. Good deal or not.
Oh well, there's way more tape on this than I was expecting. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, there we go.
Well, you know how Spider-Man always like ties everyone up.
So I don't know Egghead at all. But why not? Why not have? Of course, He's gonna. There's too much glare. There, you can see him.
No, looks like Kingpin a little bit.
If Kingpin had a cone head. Cool.
Or a lab coat.
I think this is supposed to come with a gun or something. Also, it's got part of Cassie Lang, which I'll probably.
What happened to her? Why is it on?
Because it's a Build-A-Figure, so it's a Build-A-Figure. So it says Cassie.
Well,
Lang.
now you have now you have to build it.
So now I have to
buy all the rest. Yeah.
I already have one part of her because I have Kang the Conqueror already, but I need to get Wasp, Ultron, Crossfire, and Future Ant-Man. Then I will have a complete set. Oh, actually,
I have a Wasp, but it's probably a different Wasp.
It's probably is it a comic one or?
I have the movie. No, I have the movie Wasp.
I do like the MCU version of it. So anyway, I got my little Eggman figure. He's gonna go up on. I've moved all of my MCU figures up to where my Mjolnir and Infinity Gauntlet and Spider-Man and Black Panther busts are sitting. So it's like a MCU shelf now. I'd have to take a picture and show you. Anyway, so that's all my nerding for the week on Nerding on a Budget. So we're going to get into our topics for this week, which are, it's not very extensive. Y'all, it's not a huge news week, but that's okay because we do have some things to talk about. We got some new, very tiresome developments in the Paramount, Netflix, and Warner Brothers Discovery love triangle. It's getting creepy. I have to say.
Oh, like it wasn't before.
Oh, I mean, like creepy art. Like this is now we're this is like Cape Fear level of like if you know the movie Cape Fear. This is Cape Fear level of creep. On a part of Paramount as they make yet another offer, and also one of Warner Brothers Discovery's major shareholders indicates that they don't care for the Netflix deal. What's that all about? Also, we're going to do our Black History Month spotlights. We're going to talk about 2 more black superheroes that we think you should know about. And the Black History Month media spotlight, where we're talking about 1993's Meteor Man, a movie I'm pretty sure most of y'all ain't watched, which is sad. But, I gave Holly a lot of grief about this last week, but she did her
homework.
She did her homework, y'all. She did it. The Crypto did not eat her homework. Actually, she came prepared. So we're going to talk about that. Also, we got a couple of trailers, a small teaser for Supergirl that I think is adorable, and the Spider-Man-Noir teaser trailer, and spoiler alert, pretty damn dope. But we're gonna get into it. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this stuff. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. Well, let's get into it.
Ooh, yeah.
So
did you mention METEOR Man? Oh, METEOR. Did you mention Wonder Man?
Oh, you know what? Let me back up. Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that really quickly. I don't have a card for this one, so we'll just talk about it really, really quickly. Wonder Man dropped. Actually, Marvel Studios dropped a Wonder Man trailer. What do they call it? A retro trailer. But it's not really it's really more like, hey, can y'all please go watch Wonder Man some more? Which, I mean, I think, I hate to say it, at this point, everyone who wants to watch the show has kind of already watched it. Even though I do see a lot of people still being like, oh man, I just discovered Wonder Man. And I love you guys. All of you people that are like, did y'all know that this Wonder Man show was out and it's really amazing? Yeah, we know. We've seen it. We watched it a couple times, in fact. We know. Thank you. But thank you for saying what you got to say. Maybe other people will, get hip to it. But they did drop this one. It was basically a trailer for the Wonder Man movie that's within the MCU that Simon Williams.
The old one.
Yeah, Simon Williams was inspired by and also ultimately got to become the Wonder Man for the reboot. I thought it was cute. It was basically just repurposed footage we saw in the show, and then added like a couple of bad special effects.
Voiceover.
Yeah, it added voiceover, added a little bit of title work, and then like there's a couple of, to frame the thing, there's a couple of what you would call like 1970s style, spaceship stuff, explosions and everything. I get it. I look, as a fan of Star Wars, I get it. I understand what's going on. It's cute. Um, I didn't feel like it was worth the whole segment because it's.
Well, let me disagree with
No,
you.
but go ahead
Because
though.
I think that's a really, really clever part of the promo, because everything that you do, like that you can style differently, everything that you can use to like promote stuff, it's great and it's fun. It's a little piece of the show that we're gonna have. It's just amazing, and I love that they're going all in into this stylization for. In this case, it's the 70s. I assume it's a 70s movie,
Yeah, I think it's
right?
early 80s.
And it's very like it probably looks familiar to everyone who lived in those days. I personally did not live in the 70s or early 80s. It didn't happen. And when I did live in the 80s, it was entirely different space. So anyway, but it does look like something that would probably like interest someone random. I don't know. Just in general, it's something that people usually do on YouTube using AI. It's great that they're doing it without AI, and it's great that they're adding something like just in general to that space and reminding people that you can do that normally. That's fun, in my opinion. I really loved it. I love when they release things like that just remind you to rewatch it or bring you back into it, that just don't allow you to let go of this show or movie or comic book that easily. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's cool that they are continuing their marketing push for the show. I think also probably it indicates something good, because like how much more marketing push do they give to Marvel Zombies or Ironheart or anything after the fact? I think this may be a good sign that they know that they probably have a sleeper hit. It's not. I don't think it did amazing numbers. It was probably top 10 or whatever. I'm not saying it's doing like gangbuster numbers, but it's doing good numbers, and they're trying to kind of keep that rolling with the intention of maybe getting a second season going. Let's hope. I mean,
Yeah, that's good in general.
if that's the indication, if that's what this indicates, awesome. I love that they did this. This is kind of one of those things where I've already eaten this amazing 5-course meal, and they're like, oh, also we have this other dish, and I'm like, I'll eat it, but like it's completely unnecessary. I'm satisfied. But if other people look at my plate and they're like, I might want I want that 5-course meal too. Awesome. Y'all come and enjoy the feast.
Don't take it
too.
off my plate.
Yeah, just come enjoy the feast also.
Hands off. But other than that, yeah, it's really nice. And now that you mentioned it, I don't remember them to ever or to do that often, to post promote anything. That's nice. That's a good sign.
I think the only one that I know for sure, and that's just because it shows up in the Disney Plus ads all the time, is Daredevil Born Again. They make sure they've been pushing the Daredevil Born Again trailers and like promo like it's been over a year, and you can still find those popping up on your ads, featuring the original trailer. So they clearly really are pushing Daredevil. I would love if Wonder Man was also the same. So we'll see. But anyway, you guys go check that out and let us know how you felt about that little trailer. So let's get into like the first bit of news, which is Paramount's latest offer to Warner Bros. Discovery is sad and creepy, which is crazy because it's been sad and creepy the last 2 times. It's
how sad and creepier can they get?
I mean, they're trying to figure it out. They're plumbing the depths, if you will, of of what they can do. So basically, I'm not even going to get into the details. You don't need to know any details. The point is, they said, here's some more money. Why don't you love me, Warner Brothers Discovery? Don't I buy you nice things? Don't I take you out to fancy dinners? I'll let you order a la carte And if you understand that reference, by the way, you're a real one. If you don't understand that reference, go watch go watch The Last Dragon. But yeah, I got, we got all this money, we're throwing it at you. Why won't you accept my marriage proposal? I've said this on Threads, and I feel like I've said this many times before, but let me say it once again. Nobody, and I mean nobody, works this hard, offers this much money, whatever, way more, I think, than Warner Bros. Discovery is worth. Nobody does that for a good reason. There's no goodness of their heart. There's no, we have nothing but good intentions. No. This is clearly I will stop at nothing, and I have plenty of other rich people with me who are ready and willing to create a propaganda, basically a propaganda, like, state-run media. That's what it's going to be. There is nothing but nefarious, intentions behind this. Because for any other, if this was just business, there's no way they'd keep doing this. If this was just like, I just want to make money, I'm just all about the money, there's no way they'd keep pursuing Warner Bros. Discovery like this. They will not give up. And it's clearly for bad reasons. Anyway, they're sad. Like, Warner Bros. Discovery, please, don't go anywhere with Paramount alone. Make sure there's somebody there with you, and keep your drink covered. In fact, only drink bottled drinks, and don't let them out of your sight, because you can't trust. I'm telling you, Paramount, they're gonna slip something in your drink, and you don't know what the fuck's going on, and they're gonna take advantage of you. That's a terrible analogy, but I feel like it's apt. Like, they're weird. They're fucking weird, and I think they got bad intentions. Anyway, that's what I got to say about it. What do you think?
Well, isn't it like an evil plan happening before our eyes? And if I know it, and I do know this from experience, from lived experience, because we've been through this in Russia in like the early 2000s, when suddenly the heads of some channels, some media, were replaced, and one thing led to another. Nobody noticed it, everybody ignored it, and now they have like basically state-run media. Everything is under the watchful eye of the Big Brother. And if you have any sense, you would try to stop that, because I don't know if people's voices matter at all in this scenario, but
No.
they should really be speaking out. They should really be worrying about that. No, yeah, probably in capitalism it works even worse than in capitalism back in the early 2000 Russia. But in general, yeah, this is something that you really should prevent. I don't know who I'm talking to here, because like people, yeah, obviously. It's just creepy. It's creepy on every level. It's creepy because we know why they're doing it. It's creepy because we see how they're doing it, because they're literally like acting like an incel trying to get a girl. It gets only worse and worse with every episode. It's like it's like the worst soap opera ever. And I do like my soap operas, but this one is bad.
Yeah.
Poorly written. But yeah, honestly,
you said poorly written. You said
yeah.
poorly written. I blame God. Then he's the one making this whole thing play out. So, good job.
Probably. Well, y'all know who wrote the Bible. But then again, it just the fact that it creeps me out and freaks me out, and it reminds me of something that I've already seen. Yeah, all those things are true. But in this case, the fact that they're rejecting Netflix's proposal now too. That's the worst part. I think that's the worst part, because they don't have many alternatives, and if they reject that alternative, which is the lesser evil, they're definitely gonna go with this. And when they go
Yeah.
with this, well, y'all are gonna find out what it's like living in Russia. You're not gonna
Boy,
like.
it's almost like I said this was going to happen like a month ago. In fact, more
Mhm.
remember this all played out right before Christmas, and I was like, yeah, eventually they're gonna get in the way of it, so that Paramount's the only one. But let's talk about the other thing, which is so a major WE Discovery investor says no, that they're going to vote no on the Netflix acquisition. Now, this is Ancora Holdings Group. Hey, have you ever heard of this? I haven't. We know hardly ever, because there are so many companies and shareholder groups and blah blah. There's all of these captains of industry and people who are using money to sort of run our lives. They hide behind names like this. So let's just say Ancora Holdings Group. They're probably they manage a portfolio or whatever. I understand they have something like $200 million worth of shares of Warner Brothers Discovery, which means they're a major shareholder. Not major enough to like tell them Warner Brothers Discovery what to do, but major enough to listen to, right? Kind of like with Disney with the whole Nelson Peltz and all that other shit when they were trying to install their own CEO. So they have a name, they have a big enough voice to matter. They say they're voting no on the Netflix proposal. Last we checked, 93% of the voting shareholders were like, yeah, let's do this Netflix thing. But here come these people. Now, this could be nefarious, or this could be reasonable, which is, look, the other people are offering us a shit ton more money, like straight up more money. Why will we not go with this? Why will we go with the Netflix deal? Why is that better? And that's fair. I could just be like, look, they're just greedy. But in this world, when there's a whole corporation, the Ellisons, David and Keith Ellison are willing to make themselves, put their entire fortunes on the line. They're willing to get consortiums of people to put billions of dollars up for Warner Brothers Discovery, and it's not worth. I don't think it's worth that. I can't help but think that there's some shenanigans going on behind the scenes, because this is ultimately about control and power, not just about money. If it was just about money, like I said, Paramount would have given up and be like, well, whatever, y'all ain't worth that. But if it's more than money, then there's some shit afoot. That being said, I'm not surprised by this. I'm just like, I just wish one of y'all would fucking, like, if we're gonna have straight up state-run media, just get on with it. Stop all this playing around shit. Anyway, I don't know if there's too much more to say about it.
All I want to say is I keep hearing about this parent company and this company and this smaller company, this holding, this. Oh, it's so boring. Why do people even do that for living? It sounds awful.
I mean, money. That's
I
a
hate
big deal. Look.
I mean, yeah.
They can get rich and put minorities in their place, or and hate on people they don't like. It's a win-win scenario for them. Like,
Yeah, but in general, do you really want to live your life being so bored with all this stuff?
they
Well,
want,
I don't know.
do you remember? Did you
Could
watch?
have just been happy. They just insist on being rich, miserable, and annoying and racist.
Did you ever
Whatever.
watch the show Upload on Amazon
Oh
Prime?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Every one
I
of them.
loved it. Did you finish it?
I did not. I got to finish the 4th season, but every one of these people, these high level finance and whatever people, just think of them as mini versions of the industry. That rich dude sitting at the table in that resort, eating ridiculously expensive digital versions of endangered animals that they literally had to go kill so that they could digitize the flavor of the animals. These are the people. They have no imagination. Their imagination only runs towards cruelty and just being evil in the stupidest and most least interesting ways. We don't get to have good supervillains. We don't get Doctor Dooms. We don't get, MODOKs. We don't get, the Mad Thinker. We don't even get like fucking Baron Zemo. We get Elon Musk.
Richie did.
Elon Musk, if he were in the MCU, would just be murdered because Alden, what's that? Killian? Or that?
Aldrich Killian, yeah.
Yeah, Aldrich Killian would just be like, God, you're boring. Let me. I'm not even gonna give you extremist. You're a fucking boring loser. I don't care how much money you have.
Ironically, he was in that in Iron Man.
He was in Iron Man too.
They can use his AI image and do that. Just do that.
Yeah, it's.
Let's hear him talk about freedom of speech then.
I think the only the more time passes here, I'm just like, maybe living in the MCU wouldn't be so bad. Like, yeah, I mean, like, the snap happened, the blip happens, and there's superheroes and there's all that shit, but like, at least you don't have to hear Elon Musk dumbass being.
I mean, you do have your own problems, existing problems in this world. On top, you have the supervillains and the space villains and basically the incursion and stuff like that. It's all the same things. You just have more.
I'm just convinced that super powered villains would just murder all these loud talking billionaires. I don't know. Or even better,
Punisher
it would be like in She-Hulk where the billionaire bro that at the end where he's like, oh, now I'm gonna take the real power for a man, and he becomes the fake ass Hulk. I feel like that's what would happen, and it would just be a bunch of roided out like billionaires that they just be in a raft, and we'd be all happier. Anyway, let's move on because I could keep shit talking. Let's talk about the Black History Month superhero spotlight. Yay! We're gonna talk about our each week of this month we're gonna talk about a superhero that we think you should know about. You should, if you're not reading their comics or you haven't heard about them, maybe you can, learn a little bit now. So I'm gonna take the first one on this, and we're gonna talk about a comic book and a superhero that I'm pretty sure most of y'all have never heard of. If you're not black, you definitely haven't heard of this person. But if you are black, you got to be a certain age to know who the fuck I'm talking about. That is a character by the name of Brother Man, which was in the self-same titled comic book from Big City Comics. It just came out in 1993, which interestingly, same year, actually not 1993, 1990, excuse me, which was right around the start of the comic book boom of the 90s. It was a true indie comic, black owned, black created, by a couple of brothers from Philadelphia. Oddly enough, this comic was mainly used to kind of drive business to what they had a t-shirt, kind of a t-shirt store, shop, whatever. This was the era of airbrushed, t-shirt, personalized t-shirts and so forth. Very big thing in the 90s. If you weren't here in America in the 90s, you don't know or get it, and that's fine. But if you remember those Looney Tunes, shirts with like the Bugs and Daffy and them like wearing like hip hop clothes and chains and shit like that, that was that era. And if you see this art, you'll kind of understand where that was coming from. So Brother Man, again, is a character, the title character of the book, where he's basically a costume vigilante operating in Big City, which is it's kind of an everywhere city, meant to represent kind of the black urban experience. Again, the creators were from Philadelphia, so it's kind of an amalgamation of all sorts of like, northeastern, midwestern cities that have like large black populations. Except the difference is, it was full of the whole city was just black people, no white people. Well, I mean, there were some white people, but it's mainly mainly it's just black people in the comics. The main character, Brother Man, Antonio Valor, which he by day he's a lawyer that works in I believe the DA. I want to say he was in. I want to say actually he was in the public defender's office. He's a lawyer by day, costume vigilante by night, and he basically runs up against a bunch of interesting bad guys. But he's kind of like what Batman didn't have any money or anything like that, and he's just kind of like doing his best to beat up crime. But also he's a social justice warrior in the very, very real sense of the word. And that because it was the 90s and conscious rap was a thing, and social consciousness and awareness was a thing, and people were talking about Malcolm X again and all this other stuff. So he, it's a very interesting, like if you look at the art, very interesting and stylized art. It's somewhat realistic, but also somewhat cartoony. The bad guys, like he faces off against this one guy, they call him Blockhead, and he's really, you know what it is? He's just basically sort of an incel, a black dude that's sort of like if Baxter Stockman was more of a bit of an incel, and had a couple of like gangbanger best friends from when he was a kid, and they were basically his muscle, and he was like, I'm just gonna take over the streets. And Brother Man's like, no, I'm gonna beat you up. And he literally just fights, beats up people, but he's also, giving a message. I love this. I haven't read it in a long time. I read it back in the 90s when I was, like in middle school. I really was I got into comics when I was 10 years old. And one of my cousins noticed that I really liked comic books and was like buying them, and she was like, well, yeah, why don't you read some black comics? And I was like, say, what black comics? I mean, what? This was before Milestone, by the way, before Milestone Media came out, right? So or right around the time Milestone came out. So these have been published for a couple of years by the time she said something about it, and she just bought me some issues. And I was like, what is this? And they were a non-standard size issue. There, you know how the normal, these are bigger. They were self-published, black and white, just like really interesting looking art, interesting thought. Like there's a lot of like black empowerment, talk about inner city stuff and everything. A lot of hopefulness, but they talk about corruption from within the city. They talk about corruption, like black politicians and how they can get corrupted over time. They talk about how some people they're in there for a long time, and they're just fattening themselves up instead of helping the people. There's a lot of that stuff going on in it. And Antonio is an interesting character that he's conflicted about what he does to like make things happen, but he feels like, I work in the justice system and it still doesn't work. I've got to, there's these people that I need to actually deal with and try to bring them to justice. And it's really, I think the guys who wrote it, they were like, we were kind of talking about apathy and trying to undo, trying to get people more aware and more involved in what's going on. Overall, now, I'm going to assume, Polly, you've never seen this comic before. I'm just gonna assume.
I have not. I have not.
And it's very, it's very appropriate that I'm talking about this week since we watched Meteor Man. Imagine, you know how very black Meteor Man is. Yeah, and I know you noticed, very, very, very black. That's what this comic book is. It's very like have you read any of the Milestone comics?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, it's blacker than those comics. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's super duper black, only for the good. So here's the that's cool. Here's the downside. I don't think they're available digitally, as far as I know. I have my original issues. They are sitting in a long box. Um, I don't even have the complete series. It was very hard to track down all of the issues. Um, so again, it'll be hard if you want to actually read this. I think that there is a collected version of it and it only ran for 11. It took 6 years to make 11 issues of the original run. Never quite completed the story. And they did a revival thing, kind of an origin prequel in 2016. You may be able to find these on Amazon. I don't know if you can order it from an actual bookstore, but I think it's totally worth it. Like if you just kind of want to look at a hero, a black hero from a very specific time in the late 80s, early 90s, and what we were kind of thinking about back then, I think it's a great look, and just looks cool. Like seriously, just a cool looking book. Anyway, I'm not gonna belabor it. Y'all go check it out on Amazon if you can, and let's talk about it. So, which takes us to Polly's hero of the week, which is, and make sure I'm saying this right, Jo Mullein. Am I saying her name right?
I think you are. I mean,
Yeah.
I've only ever heard her name written. Seen.
Yeah,
written,
we're gonna say.
Yeah, it's
we're gonna
like
say
quite the opposite. Are you gonna say what?
And I was I'm gonna say that I'm saying it right. We're just gonna say I'm saying it right. Yes, Jo Mullein, who is a Green Lantern, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from Far Sector. N.K. Jemisin, is that right? Wrote it. So that's the extent of my knowledge about it. So I'm gonna let you take it away.
So yeah, it's kind of the exact opposite of the comic book that you were talking about. It's a very celebrated book. It's a very good book. I have it here.
Nice.
And it's a Hugo Award-winning book too. Created by the amazing team of Norikita Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. One of my favorite artists, by the way, for DC, has fantastic art. Look at this.
Nice.
Yeah, it has gorgeous characters, colors. Oh, everything about this book is so amazing, which is we were gonna talk about the character, right? So yeah, the book introduces Jo Mullein, who is a Green Lantern. But before she was a Green Lantern, she was a police officer, and she was in the military, and she was a police officer. Obviously, these experiences did a number on her. When she was deployed, while she was in the military, she did witness a lot of things that made her question the correctness of what she was doing. So she went to become a cop, and then again had to question things. She witnessed her partner beat up a suspect, and she at the time she didn't do anything, but later on she did testify against him. And obviously all of this cost her her job. But the comic book, it was coming out during the BLM and all of that, so it was relevant then. It's still relevant now, definitely. After all of that happened to her, she was approached by a guardian, and she was offered another job, which is how she became the Green Lantern. And she was sent, unlike, the normal Green Lanterns who hang out around Earth a lot for some reason, she was sent to the Far Sector, which is where the name comes from, obviously, to deal with a murder investigation on a very remote world. The world is fantastic, beautiful, and spectacular because obviously it's illustrated by Jamal Campbell, who is great. And the whole story itself, it kind of does feel like a fantasy a little bit. Well, obviously it is a fantasy, but it does feel like a power fantasy because it deals with all the issues she had been through, and it does. Like most of us, she did not have the power to do anything back when that was happening, but here she has the power of a Green Lantern. Obviously, it's limited as always, as with the other lanterns. She's not omnipotent, but she does have the power to change. She does have access to all the powers on that world, to all the decision makers, the highest levels. She can navigate this world. She can question them. She can like drive her own conclusions, and she does use her powers. She has to broker some kind of like kind of a broker piece. She has to deal with local politics, obviously, which makes it does reflect a little bit the modern world. So it does stay relevant throughout the whole story. But she does deal with a lot of stuff. It's very interesting. It's very exciting. It's pretty much breathtaking. One of my favorite books. And it does deal with it's a very masterfully told story, which does deal with a lot of trauma that Jo has, obviously, and you gotta add that because N.K. Jemisin, she used to work in mental health, so it kind of shows that she uses that experience in developing the character of Jo, and that's why she's so relatable. She is different, and again, speaking of Jamal Campbell, I do love his art, but one of my favorite parts in this book in particular, and with this character in particular, was the thing that her hair is always different. She doesn't just have, one hairstyle like braids or like straight hair or something like that. Her hair changes. She wears this thing that she wears most of the time. She does wear the bonnet. She does, change styles. That's very important in my opinion. It's just great. Again, excuse me. Again, if you want to read it, you should definitely read it. You should definitely want to read it. It's a great book. And Jo is, by the way, one of the main characters, probably the main character, the main Green Lantern in the Absolute Green Lantern series, which we covered in one of the previous episodes. So you can read about her there too.
But
this
actually
is one of her best books, in my opinion.
That's actually the only reason why I know who she is, because of Absolute Green Lantern.
She's very different. She's very different there. Her backstory is very different, as with every other characters in the Absolute universe. But the essence is still there. It's still the same. It's the desire to do the right thing. It's the drive to change something when you seemingly have no power at all.
Yeah. I'm sure there was no backlash at all to her existing.
Honestly, I have no idea, because by the time this book got to me, I don't think, maybe it died out, but this book is fantastic. So I don't know. If you didn't like this book, if you read it and you didn't like it, there's something wrong with you. Just gonna say that, and I'm not gonna delve deeper into this.
I feel like Absolute Green Lantern feels like it's a response to something. Maybe I'm just crazy. It feels like they're like, oh, you don't think she belongs? Well, I'm gonna make sure every one of your other lanterns are like beneath her, because every other, I mean, Guy doesn't count in Absolute. He was doing what he was supposed to do when he was, stuff happened to him. Hal, the poster boy of the Green Lanterns, actually shows what I consider to be his actual true character in the mainstream comics. And John is who he is. Everyone has their part in it, but she's the Green Lantern, and it's clear she's the Green Lantern.
Go ahead.
No, it's just like I think I thought that was interesting, because they had an opportunity to give everybody else the ring, and she's the one that got it. And it's a bit different, but she's the one that got it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know a lot about how people responded to her initially when the character showed up, but I do love that this is a very separate story. Whatever's going on in it does not affect anything else. So even like if you're a new reader if you haven't picked a comic ever, this is definitely the book I would recommend, because it doesn't have strong connections to anything else. You don't need to know anything. You don't need to do any homework. You can just sit down, you can read it, and then you will love comics, because this is one of the books that will make you love comics.
Right. Well, it sounds good. I guess I really need to get. Actually, I'm gonna check my library and see if they have it on loan. why pay DC for this when I can just get it for the free? We'll see.
Oh.
But you guys, y'all, let us know what y'all think about our two picks. Let's talk about it down in the comments. That takes us to our Black History Month media spotlight. We're talking about 1993's The Meteor Man, written, directed, and by and starring Robert Townsend, which is a name that you ought to know. If you don't know who Robert Townsend is, shame on you. But it's, you know what? I'm gonna be fair. He's a black director and creator in Hollywood. From started acting in the 70s, and he worked in the 80s. Directed some movies and everything like that. He has a good filmography. I get it if you missed and you don't know these things, especially if you're from another country. And let's just be honest, not a whole lot of good marketing of black movies, and I'm black meaning predominantly black cast featuring black Americans doing stuff, doing regular stuff that black Americans do. Not a whole lot of that. Across the pond, across the world, really. Black Panther was like such a breath of fresh air, because normally they don't push it. The only reason why they really push it is because it was a Marvel thing. That being said, this is a movie that Robert Townsend, he was doing he's doing a few things here. Like, if you haven't seen any of his movies before, so his two movies I know pretty well from before these were Hollywood Shuffle, which was made in the mid 80s, and then The Five Heartbeats, which I believe was made in like 1990. Hollywood Shuffle is about what it's like to be a black actor in Hollywood. There's a lot of it's a comedy about being a black actor in Hollywood trying to make it, and being stereotyped and typecast, and all these opportunities. It's a very funny movie. I think you get it more if you're a black American, but there's plenty of funny gags in it. Keep that in mind. It's a very, very funny movie, right? With a lot of basically sketch gags and stuff like that. Same time, a few years later, and he's made other things. Like he produced, I believe, Baps, which is not a movie I've seen, but I know a lot of black people like it. But he made The Five Heartbeats, which is basically his telling of the story of the Temptations, the Motown singer group. They're not the Temptations, but it's kind of like how Dreamgirls was essentially a fictional telling of the Supremes. This is his fictional telling of the Temptations. A very good movie, and also very revered in Black American community, especially for people my age, which is I'm in my mid 40s and older. So this was his thing after that. Meteor Man is about it's about a man who gets superpowers, right? He gets superpowers, and he lives in Washington D.C. His name is Jefferson Reed. He's a substitute school teacher, and he lives in a black neighborhood, and there's a gang called the Golden Lords who basically are running around doing gang shit. And this is all in the backdrop of Washington D.C. during the crack epidemic, which, I mean, if you know anything about, if you're internationally, even internationally, you've probably heard of the crack epidemic going on in America, because it's a negative thing about black people. So of course they made sure that the rest of the world knew all about it. And he gets in trouble with these guys, and then just kind of a random ass meteor slams into him and gives him superpowers. And what does he do with the superpowers? How did he decides to clean up the neighborhood and deal with gangs and everything like that. But the Golden Lords and ultimately the big criminal syndicate that they work for ain't so happy with it because drugs. And, you know, can a man with superpowers actually solve all of the problems that black people have in inner city America? That's the question. I have some more thoughts. I'm just curious. You didn't know anything about this movie before I said anything to you about it, and I said we're going to cover this. And I pointed you to a place where you could watch it. And you got to watch it. I'm very interested in your perspective because as a black woman who grew up around 99% white people, non-American white people, in fact, I know you didn't get this movie. I know there's no way that you ever had a chance to see this movie. How did this?
Yeah, that was not on TV.
Yeah,
that was not on TV. And you know, to make it worse.
Well, I was gonna say you would. I know they bootlegged a shit ton of American stuff back in Russia.
Yeah, not that.
But that wasn't one. That wasn't gonna be one of
them. No, you had a lot of like fighting movies, you know, with like white dudes or even Asian dudes. But no, you did not get a lot of black people. The thing is, even now, it was kind of a problem to find this movie because I checked like all the streaming services that I'm subscribed to, and none of them had it. Thankfully, yeah, you provided the link. So yeah, it was a very interesting experience because it did feel like something I would have watched on TV, but maybe not necessarily like as a child, but it did feel nostalgic, and it did feel nostalgic for something I've never actually experienced, or it did feel a little bit familiar because back then when we watched these movies, and we watched them a little later than they were actually shot, usually, but there was an image of America that was kind of like this optimistic, and this was not it. It was in the same style. This was not it. It probably would have scared me off of America, like for a long time. Probably would have been a good thing. But in general, it did feel, very nostalgic in the style that it was shot in. It's a very interesting story too. First of all, it is a story of a good read, not that read. I enjoyed how like the narrative was built. You know, it not even about the community or the feeling of the community, but like how the plot was actually constructed. The fact that I think the spoilers are okay.
No, this is a 30-something. This is an over 30-year-old movie. I think y'all be okay.
Yeah, I think everybody who was gonna watch it already have. So at some point at the end, when he started losing his powers, that was a very interesting concept for me because I don't remember that happening in like more generic and modern movies. Usually, like it may happen in the middle and then the person gets their power back, but it's just a very different way to tell a story. Then it did feel very emotional because, again, and just like what I said about First Sector, this is a fantasy. This is obviously a fantasy of people who don't have a way to influence like everyone around them, even from their community, because let's face it, like most of the people, most of these kid lords, baby lords, they were from that community with those ridiculous hair. They were from that community, and I honestly expected them to, like, you know, switch sides
right.
At some point, but, well, the way they did them was much better. They deserved it. So, yeah, when you think that you can't affect anything, and then, like, one person, he or she or they start doing something, and then everyone sees that it's possible, and then like by working together they can achieve something. That's very inspiring for some reason. For me personally, this is the kind of story that always inspires me, always makes me tear up and stuff like that. This movie did it. Regardless of the like fact that it's cheesy, it has very, very, you know, 80s special effects. It's something that people would complain about now, but in this style, and it's just nice. And obviously, my favorite part of this is that it's very black. It is more black people in one movie than I've ever seen, I think. Mm, especially during like my
Besides
childhood.
Black Panther, but yeah, but like no white
Yeah,
people in
I
it.
mean,
It's like the only white
uh,
people in the movie are literally like the teachers, like at the school.
yeah, yeah, and the fact that the
Oh,
main
I guess
character
the
is
bad
a
guys.
teacher.
There's the bad guy
Uh,
too, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. The fact that main character is a teacher, not just from a normal family, like supportive
Hmm.
family, and not this stereotype, beaten down by life, went to jail or something like that. Not that stereotypical shit. This is actually a story that could have been written about anyone. It does, but it does have some cultural elements, and it does have the characters that makes it black.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that very much. Didn't
Yeah.
like how they did the dog though. I was not happy about that. I don't like this.
Yeah, it's look, I got some more stats about the just kind of like background on the movie before I give my more thoughts on it. So, this movie did not make money. It made $8 million on $8 million on a $20 million budget. However, it did go into syndication, so maybe they made their money back eventually. This came out after Batman, right? But before we got the superhero boom. So this was in the midst of all the other Batman movies that were, the sequels. Remember '89, and all the returns and so forth. This is in the midst of all of that. I'm pretty certain because it was a black movie, it did not get overseas marketing. Really, that's probably contributed to the fact that it didn't make. But also, there's a ton of anti-blackness around the world. So I get why they didn't spend any money doing it. There's a lot of anti-blackness around the world. So an all-black movie, get that out of here. So many cameos. Like some of y'all won't get this. You're not old enough, or you're not black, or whatever. So I will excuse you out of this conversation. A ton of cameos. Luther Vandross was in. In fact, let me actually make sure I have, because I had a list of it. So Don Cheadle, young ass Don Cheadle, was in that. You saw him as one of the
That's not a cameo though.
I'm not a cameo, but you get what I'm saying. You had Robert Guillaume. Robert Guillaume was famous for, among other things. He's a character called Benson on a very popular American TV show. James Earl Jones, one of the characters, right? One of Jefferson's neighbors. Bill Cosby was the vagrant that had superpowers, right? Some people Sinbad as Malik. Remember Sinbad the comic? He was in movies before too. Like I said, Luther Vandross was in it. The rappers Naughty by Nature and Cypress Hill were in it as Bloods and Crips. Debo from Friday, Tiny Lister was in this. You had LaWanda Page, LaWanda Page, if you watch Sanford and Son, and you probably haven't, but if you did, she was in it. There's Sam Jackson was apparently in it. John Witherspoon also, y'all know from Friday and from Boondocks. He was in it. Faison Love, Chris Tucker in an uncredited voice cameo, was in this. Was it Eddie Griffin, who was in Undercover Brother, which I love. Another Bad Creation. That's a rap group y'all don't know because you ain't from the '90s, but they were in this too as the young lords or the junior lords, whatever. So many people in it. Like he put out the call. Big Daddy Kane was in it. He's a rapper. He put out the call and said, "I need every black person possible. Every black person that wants to be in this, show up." And they were like, "Bet," and they showed up. I fucking love that. Yeah.
You mentioned Friday, and I forgot to say that, but this is exactly what reminded me. Like, it reminded me of Friday a little bit because it had the low key vibe and this neighborhood atmosphere, and yeah.
and I want to note, movies like Friday don't exist without Robert Townsend. I'm so serious. Look him up. Hollywood Shuffle. He basically got the financing more or less on his own. It was a surprise hit, kind of in the way that Clerks was a kind of a surprise hit, and it opened doors for him in Hollywood, but because he's black and he wants to tell black people stories, he doesn't get as far as a Kevin Smith, right? But he wrote and directed Hollywood Shuffle. That got him to this point. Friday doesn't exist without, because he shows people that it's possible to do shit like that. There's a long line of black filmmakers that he's a part of that gets you to a Friday, that gets you to like the kind of like explosion of black cinema that goes on in the 90s. There's a lot of it in the 90s that because of Robert Townsend and other people like him, we were able to get it. They also did a comic book adaptation of the movie, and they incorporated the Golden Lords into the MC, or at least the Marvel Comics. So they show up, a version of them show up in Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Very, very, very interesting. You know what? Is this movie the best cinema ever? No, it's not. It's a comedy. It's a comedy about some actually very serious things going. Look, Washington D.C. was one of the epicenters of the crack epidemic. No lie. It had one of the worst. It had some of the worst crime statistics related to drugs and shit like that. So it's significant that this takes place in Washington D.C. in one of those neighborhoods, right? And what you see is, instead of it's just like a bombed out, drugged out, people on the corner, vagrants and everything like that. Instead of that, it's more like, oh, it's a neighborhood, and then there's some gang members there that are trying to do their thing. And Jefferson you're right. It's a power fantasy of, well, if I had the power and I didn't have to be afraid of getting killed, I would just go break up all these crack houses and do, and he goes and it's a very funny how he does it, right? Like he goes and he blows the cocaine around, and like if Superman was, would do the same. And, he catches bullets with his hand to defend people, and he stops, he does his Michael Jackson thing, and he brings the police and the gangs together. And I'm surprised they didn't break out in a dance number. But it unfortunately, sometimes it interrupts what I consider to be a pretty good narrative about a guy, basically with great power comes great responsibility. And he's reluctant. He's like, let's just don't get involved. But now that he has the power, he gets involved. But it gets interrupted by silly shit like, Michael, Jefferson's friend, stealing the suit and pretending to be him so he can get this news anchor's number. It's just like, and it like introduces a bunch of silly like conflict that doesn't have to happen. But then also a lot of the conflict becomes very personal, because they track down his, where he lives, and they attack, they're holding the place hostage. And it's one of those things where, like, if you've seen, it takes some cues from movies like High Plains Drifter, which if y'all have never seen High Plains Drifter, it's a Western with Clint Eastwood from the 70s. And in High Plains Drifter, he's a gunman. He comes into town and he starts dealing with all of their problems. They pay him, and he starts dealing with all of their outlaw problems, until the outlaws just decide, oh, we're just going to gang up and beat the shit out of this guy and kill him. And when he does, the townspeople were all, had all this courage until the bad guys stormed up in there and kind of held the place hostage. And they just kind of let him get his ass kicked, right? And there's that moment in there where this is going on. He kind of loses his powers, and then he's just fighting. He loses his power and decides, I'm gonna still fight anyway, even though I'm surrounded by these stupid looking Golden Lords, and I gotta fight the main guy. And then that gives that's that one part that you see in so many movies where it gives everyone else the opportunity to be like, rather than watch him get killed, we're gonna actually gang up and fight these guys no matter what's happening, because he did the same for us.
But
Beautiful.
it's also a moment that when he does that, when he goes out to fight this bad guys, knowing that he lost his powers, that's kind of his personal journey too, because he was afraid to to get involved because he didn't have any powers. He had them for a while. It gave him confidence, and it showed everyone that like they can do something.
Right.
That's also a personal journey.
Yeah.
And overall, I mean, yeah, aside from like maybe if it would have been a little more polished and a little not different, but like a little more expensive, probably could have been a great blockbuster today.
Yeah. I want it to be
The
a little.
The story is all the same, though.
I think it's a little too silly. Like I think if you remade this and played it a bit more straight, it doesn't have to be complete. If you, in fact, I'll say this: you put it in the MCU and give it the MCU sensibility, but make it a bit more serious and a little bit less silly.
I mean, yeah, update the issues and like update the characters a little bit.
Yeah.
But take what I would take from it is definitely this not characterized depiction of the people, because they're just people. That's what I liked about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I probably would have never watched it if it wasn't the issue, the topic of today's discussion. I probably wouldn't ever find it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I did. I'm glad I watched it.
Yeah. I think, like I said, a little less silly. Like the final face-off scene. It's a bit overlong, but it's fun in its ways. It just sometimes it interrupts the kind of the drama of the situation for like a gag, and I don't love that.
That's kind of what MCU does.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
it's just better.
Yeah, but it interrupts what I think is a pretty good scene with gags here and there. But it is very satisfying when everyone rushes out and they're just beating up each other, and they're fighting the Golden Lord and everything like that, and then the big bads come through and they're like, the people behind the Golden Lords, they're like, we're gonna kill all of y'all, and then the gang members show up, and I'm like, yeah, can't we all just get along? I guess I'm like, gang members, so y'all this whole time the Golden Lords were doing stuff and y'all were just hanging out on the rooftops, y'all were just waiting for your moment. Your moment was to deal with the Golden Lords. Why'd y'all wait? I'm just like, serious.
Because they could drive into the scene through the poster or whatever billboard and be epic about it. They were preparing their entrance.
I mean,
and
they were
probably getting weapons.
They were like, nope, not yet. Oh, there's an old woman beating a guy with a broom, and like little, an old man is getting stuffed into a trash can. Nope, this isn't the moment. Not yet.
Yeah, but you're asking where the gang was, but nobody's asking where the police was. They showed up. After the fact.
Here's the beauty of that. That's actually
black neighborhood.
Yeah, honestly, that's the most realistic part of the whole thing, is the police coming well after the shit's over. Well after
at
the shit is
least they
over.
Showed up.
I mean, and they showed up and they didn't shoot one black person. They arrested the white people. That's how you know it's a fantasy. That is how you know it's a fantasy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they arrested not just white people but rich white people.
Yeah.
On expensive cars. That's never gonna happen. Anywhere in the world, I just don't buy it.
I was like,
a lot of black people and black people with guns.
Yeah.
And you arresting white? Nah.
I was looking. I was like, that's the most unrealistic thing that happened in this whole movie. Anyway, this is a good time. You guys, look, it is hard to find. Like, you can get it on DVD and physical media. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but if you know certain sites, you know where you can watch it. Also, I think it's on, if I'm not mistaken, I think Internet Archive has it. I think you might be able to watch on the Internet Archive. So check, if you can, find it, watch it. Let us know what you think about it. So let's talk about, oops, wait. Okay, oh, there we go. I was like, where is my right thing? Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the Supergirl Puppy Bowl teaser. Not the Super Bowl teaser. Puppy Bowl, if you don't know, that's on, I believe, Animal Channel? Whatever. It's one of our cable networks. And the Puppy Bowl is... forget the game. Who cares about that? let's watch a bunch of puppies cavorting, among with each other with toys, and it's just a cuteness thing, right? This is sort of pro. I don't want to say anti-programming, but kind of alongside programming for people that don't give a shit about the football game, but they want something like related to it to watch. It's a thing. It's been going on for like 20 odd years. Who cares about any of that? I love puppies as much as anybody else, but there's a Supergirl teaser, and I figured we'd check it out. It's about basically crypto. I mean, partly it's where Kara first encounters crypto, running around being a cute little puppy, in as Krypton basically has been destroyed, and they're hurtling through space on one remnant of it that's been encased in a bubble. If you read the comic, you know what this is, but also if you saw the previous trailers, you know exactly what's going on. They're in a city that's basically, it's been saved, but it hasn't. And she picks it up, and Crypto's adorable. And everything else that happened in that trailer, you pretty much have seen already. Hey, I had a good time with it. Y'all know me and Crypto, we're like this. Anybody that wants to have beef with Crypto, you have beef with me. Whoever wants to lay hands on Crypto, go through me first. So, and he's so adorable.
I'm gonna cut this out from the final version of this video, and then I'm gonna start a smear campaign in which I would tell everyone that you're a Crypto bro.
I am a Crypto. Look, this is the only Crypto I approve of. Damn it! Like, if this is the crypto, if they made a Dogecoin of Crypto, I might have to invest. But that's the only way. Anyway, what do you think about this little teaser?
So cute. First of all, what I've noticed that it does kind of put into perspective everything that we've seen so far, because what we've seen so far, and it was similar to the comic book, but the main question on everybody's mind was what are they gonna do about Crypto, right? Yeah, it seems like they're gonna go through with the story. But just in general, it's very nice to see this little prequel to the whole story, to what's happening there, to her bond with KRYPTO, because we saw that the not aftermath of that, but like what happened with them in the nowadays times. What am I saying? But we saw it in the post credit scene at the end of Superman. So yeah, it's nice to know like where it started, and it does really help that it does have some elements of Alive on Krypton too. So it's not just about the dog, it's a little bit of like this and that. Doesn't shine any light on like anything that we've seen in the trailer, but it's a nice addition. Again, like with the trailer about Wonder Man, the Wonder Man movie. It's a nice addition, but to something that we're gonna see eventually, not very soon, but eventually, soon enough. And they picked a great time to do that, because people were expecting at least something. They didn't get anything. They did get this. So
yeah, nice. And more importantly, they didn't spend $7 million on that spot. They spent much less, because it was on. I
think he said that we're gonna do something like that.
Yeah,
like they're not gonna spend money, but they're gonna instead spend it over time on marketing.
Well, they
stop predicting things.
Just
predict something good.
I don't know if I predicted it, but it seemed like, I think I've heard something, but this was on a channel that Warner Brothers Discovery owns. So of course the cost of it's much lower, and also you have to think that the price of an ad on a competing network during the Super Bowl is much less. It's a bargain, because nobody's watching it in America. Everybody's watching the damn Super Bowl, so it's much cheaper. It was smart. And it doesn't get me more excited, because I can't be more excited than super excited, Supergirl excited. So but I like that they put it out, and I hope it moved the needle for some people. Crypto at Digital Crypto, he's a cute dog. He's a real asshole when he's when he gets older. He's look, I love him. But I can admit he's kind of a dick. He's his priorities are really weird sometimes. He's not he's not a good dog all the time, but we love him anyway. So you guys let us know what y'all thought about that teaser. That takes us to today's Spider-Man Noir teaser trailer that was dropped by Prime Video. This is coming to us to us from I think Sony license. I don't think it's MGM that did MGM Studios might have actually produced this, but this is one of the few Spider-Verse things that's kind of surviving. Coming to you from the producers into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, Beyond the Spider-Verse. That, of course, is Lord and Miller. Developed for TV, based on the character Spider-Man Noir from the comic book, but most actually, really, it's from Into the Spider-Verse. In my opinion, one of the really shining stars of Into the Spider-Verse. A black and white noir, detective sort of hard-boiled character that was very funny, and I thought Nick Cage was really great as the voice. And then they're like, we're gonna do a live action on it. I'm like, okay, cool, who's gonna play the character? I mean, and they're like, Nick Cage, and I was like, oh really, tell me more. I'm like, all right, I'm intrigued. You had my curiosity, now you have my attention. I'm like Calvin Candy. And then they kind of went to the lab, worked on it. They gave us some casting announcements, and they gave us some idea about what we're gonna get. And then they dropped I think yesterday they did some little posters, and they're like, it's gonna be in black and white and true vision color. And I was like, all right, y'all are saying all the right things to me. Now, all right, now you're saying all the right things. Now show me something good. And that's what they did. I think this is a great teaser trailer. This is not the full trailer. It's coming out May 27th, so we're likely to get another one in the next 6 weeks. But as a teaser, it's great. The way Wonder Man trailer kind of told you more or less the style of what you were going to be seeing, and they were just like, if this is the style that you think is good, you're going to like this, right? I feel like I'm getting this here. It felt a little Sin City in the best way possible, by the way, and only in the sense that Sin City is sort of doing a version of pulp, hard-boiled detective, sort of cinema or storytelling, and so it feels a bit like that. There's interesting camera angles and shot compositions. I know I'm being a film nerd right now, but there is. I love the way black and white pops throughout. I think Nick Cage is being Nick Cage. Look, he can't help it. They even do the whole little thing that he does. He did that. I was like, I'm cool with that. They showed web swinging. It looked dope. The costume looks cool. What is there not to want in this? I'm so serious. What's not to want in this? I got more to say, but this is a great trailer, and I'm really excited for this show. What say you?
I say it was great. It was definitely great, and I mean, you saying Sin City, I don't know about that, because Sin City for me was a little bit kind of like not crazy, what was saying, gory, a little too gory, a little too animated maybe in parts. It felt like something its own thing. But in this case, I would say that it's kind of continuing the what we got with Werewolves by Night. It does still it's approximately the same time period that inspired the thing. I do love well, I do love pre-code movies way more than everything after, and this kind of dives into a little bit of a later time, but it does look amazing. It does still have all these Art Deco elements that I again also love a lot, especially with the hair, the headpiece that this lady had. The fact that they're releasing it in both black and white and true color. It's also something that I like. I probably would watch both versions. I probably would enjoy the black and white more, especially if it's done well and it does utilize the elements that black and white can deliver in the right way. Because it does, like, it takes a little tweaking to make it look right. And I hope they do that. I'm not so sure yet. I can say that I'm a big fan of Nicolas Cage. I I prefer Luke Cage. It's I mean, let's just face it, he can be a little over the top sometimes, or maybe under the top. I don't know. It's just not, he does not work for every part, at least in my opinion. But maybe, hopefully, this is where he's gonna shine, where he's gonna do it well, and we're gonna get a great story. Now, I have read the Spider-Man Noir book and comic book, and it does feel a little bit different, but has the same vibe, and I'm excited about it because obviously, like, I love everything retro futuristic, like straight up retro. Give me Victorian era. I don't know. I don't care. Everything that is inspired by something old is great in my book, or vintage in general. So this is right up my alley. I'm gonna be excited to see it. I actually can't wait. I don't even need another trailer to sell this to me. Right. I'm still gonna be watching. I'm gonna be excited.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were all in before we even got the trailer. I like that they show, like, we're seeing like glimpses of his rogues. Like they're like, I think there was a Electro, probably there was a electrified hand. We saw a guy that was on fire. I don't know who that's supposed to be. I said Pyro in my reaction, but who knows who that actually is?
I don't know. Pyro is more of an X-Men baby.
I've heard that there's Sandman could be in this also. Maybe Black. I think one of the characters actually is Black Cat. So there is a lot of, like, rogues that are going to be in this. It should be 8 episodes. I'll be really interested to see how they incorporate that. I think they nailed the style. I think they nailed the tone. I think that this could be something really special. Maybe it'll take the taste of Madam Web out of our mouths. So Sony, well, let's hope. Maybe it'll make us forget about Craven and Morbius. It can't help but be better than those. But I think this is. I think everybody else is sort of feeling this way too. But I don't know. Let us know. Are we hyping this up too much, or is this really is something that you guys are really looking forward to? I'd be interested to see your thoughts and reactions, and we are definitely going to keep our eyes out for the full official trailer. Like I said, probably in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to get that, and then we'll start getting hyped for it. May 27th is the date that this drops, and I'm also hoping they do not do all episodes at once. I would hate that. I would rather that they dropped.
No, it's Amazon.
No, I'd rather let's go 3 episodes and then 1 per week after that, please.
Well, Amazon usually does weekly episodes, I think.
Yeah, they are pretty good about it, so let's hope that that's the way they do it. So we'll see, but let us know what y'all think about that. So with that being said, that's all of our news and stuff for the week. Thanks, for checking us out. Let us know. Did we cover everything you thought we should cover? Or did we miss something? You agree with us, disagree with us, want to say something nice, troll, whatever the case may be. You know what to do. Get down there to the comment section, leave your thoughts there. And of course, you can always hit us up. SuperNotFunnyShow@gmail.com. Blurred_Force1 on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Ignore what that graphic says. One day I'm gonna fix it. On TikTok, it's all the same. Blurred_Force1. And while you're doing that, get down there to the comments, not the comment section, get down there and hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. All that good stuff helps to grow this channel, helps more people to see this podcast and all the other things that we do on Blurred Force 1. Of course, couldn't do this by myself. I needed Polly to come in and, you know, let us know about, you know, a comic book character I should know more about. And now I'm actually going to try to get into Joe. Yes, for Far Sector. But, and also to let us know about how there is a good read in the world. There is one.
His name is not Richards.
So, where can they reach you on social media?
Car_mixed on Threads, on Tumblr, and on Instagram. And please never talk to me about Reed. Unless you want to hear
unless his name is
about him.
Unless it's Jefferson Reed, the Meteor Man, then
oh yeah,
then you can't say that. So, yeah, go check that out. Show Polly some love. So, with that being said, that's everything. This is episode 219 of the Supercast. Thanks for joining us. Next week, we're going to do yet another Black History Month spotlight on two different Black superheroes. Another Black History Month media spotlight on another Black superhero movie or TV show. And otherwise, we're going to be talking about the cool things that have been happening in pop culture media with superheroes. So, until then, I've been Mo, your comic extraordinaire on all things pop culture that can't talk. Joined by my good friend Polly, and we'll see you
Who
guys.
can talk?
She can't. One of us can enunciate English, and it's not the one that grew up speaking English. It's weird, right? But I just have joined by my good friend Polly. So until next time, we'll see you on the other side of the thread. Peace.